Hello, this is Nathan Webb. This will be a short tutorial on how to add a clavicle bone and controller to a character who already has a spine and an arm. I'm using the Andy mesh here where I have spline IK set up for the torso. It's not skinned yet, and I also have a simple shoulder control set up with an orient constraint. I'll go to the front view and add in a joint for the clavicle. I'll go to skeleton joint tool, and some people like putting the clavicle down around here, but I think it's better to add it in line with the shoulder joint. So I'm going to put it right around there. Just hit enter. I'm going to call it clavicle left, and we're going to parent it to the top of my spine joint. Hit the P button, and then also we're going to parent our shoulder to our clavicle joint. Hit the P button. Now I could skin it just to show you how it works. I'll select my geometry, and then the spine joint, go to skin, bind skin, smooth bind, and 2 max influences will be fine. Hit apply. You can see how that worked. Oh, forgot to add the arm in there, so I'll select the arm as well, and then the clavicle joint. Go to skin, bind skin, smooth bind. Now my arm's going to move. If you see how your clavicle works, you can just raise your clavicle up and down and get your character's shoulders to shrug, but we don't want to have to select the joint itself, so I'm going to put a controller up here. I'm going to show the head. Shift H will show the geometry that I have hidden, and I'm going to add a controller up in here. I'm going to go to File, Import, and I already have a nice shoulder shape that I took from the Max for Maya character. It is called Shoulder Arrow. Hit Import. It's really big, so I'll have to rescale it to fit my character here. Something around here will work. Remember to freeze the transformations, and I'll call it clavicle left control. I'm going to use an orient constraint to constrain the clavicle, so I'll select my clavicle control, my clavicle joint, and then go to constrain orient. Let's make sure we have maintain offset on and hit apply. So now when I rotate this, my shoulder will rotate up and down, but it kind of looks weird because my shoulder controller has its pivot in the center of the object, so I'm going to move the pivot to be where the clavicle is. You almost always want to have your control objects with the same pivot point as the objects being controlled, so I'll hold D to move the pivot down and then V to snap. And then now when I rotate that shoulder controller, it rotates along with the clavicle. I think that looks better. You also notice the shoulder controller does not follow along with the joint it controls, so I'm going to point constrain that controller to the joint. Go to constrain and then point. Hit apply. Now when I move my shoulder and shrug it, my arm controller follows the clavicle. And on my chest controller, I want my clavicle controller to follow along with it. So I'll take the clavicle controller, grab my chest controller, and hit P to parent. And that'll do it. So we have a clavicle joint, so we can shrug the shoulders. We have an object with an orient constraint, which when that object rotates, it'll rotate the clavicle.